Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you guys are doing great. You're having a fantastic day, better than mine. My day is good. Today we're going to be talking about a lot of interesting stuff going on in the world, as per usual. Mainly whatever's going on in Iran. It seems like we are kind of witnessing history, and a lot of things, a lot of hidden indicators are pointing towards something large about to happen over there that we will be getting into tonight. I was able to accurately predict, as you can tell, the bottom. I know I'm just so perfect at what I do. Is it up only from here? Maybe. As long as World War III doesn't start and we get good economic data tomorrow, I think we'll be good. Today's Thursday, right? Today is Thursday. So we'll be talking about that. We'll also be discussing other stuff going on. ICE protests. That's very rampant. It seems like this lady that got shot by ICE yesterday, which we discussed. What was her name again? Something good. Okay. Yeah, we'll figure out some more details that came up from her. And it seems like the left is using her as like the token person. Almost like a George Floyd sort of effect to have their protests, right? So we'll see what heresies they are committing in the world. What else do we got? Zcash. Zcash. You'll notice a fat 10% drop today. It was 12% at its worst. I knew something was off yesterday. We did kind of point that out. Before the news even came out, we saw it happen live. So we'll be getting into all that. Spoiler alert, the dev team resigned. I knew we shouldn't have trusted that transgender dev. I'm not going to blame it on that exactly. I know it's other circumstances. We'll figure out the reason why Zcash decided to collapse. It's almost like nobody's behind it. It's as dead as Cadena would be, in my opinion. Remember Cadena? That's the kind of effect I would expect from Zcash going forward. So might have to replace it, honestly. This is not good news for investors. And thank Christ Almighty, I used a stop loss for once and actually justified. I would not like to have an open position in Zcash anymore. If anything, I would like to short it, and I think that's what I might do. I don't know. We'll see what the mood is. As of right now, no, it's too late to be shorting. The news has already committed its impact. How much lower can we go? I don't know. It's not like the token crashed 99% or anything like that. Pretty shady nonetheless. We'll talk more extensively about that. Well, that being said, Bitcoin's current price is 91,221. My average entry is now at 90,501. What I ended up doing yesterday was buying, after I finished going live, where did I buy? At 90,996, thinking I'm about to miss the train, maybe, if that is the rise. It looked like a lot of stuff was about to start rising, especially if we look at something like Solana's chart. We saw a couple of green candles that kind of made me go like, oh, I think this is going to start rising again. And then it ended up not doing. I think my browser's about to crash. No, we're good. We saw these happen overnight, right? And I was like, dude, I think it's, I might be late to the party with Solana. 134 might have been the bottom. It wasn't. We kept dropping later on to 132. I was looking at Solana for a potential bounce, right? Similar deal with Bitcoin. We dropped to a low today of 89,280. We were just inches off of this entry that I had. It would have been so perfect. I would have had such a great entry price, massive exposition, better than what I had sold on spot, and I would be fine with us rising from here. But I'm fine if we don't, either way. My limit order was at 89,142. We dropped to 89,280. So just by $100, $140 in Bitcoin terms, my order did not get filled, which is frustrating. It happens all the time. I'm just so perfect, though, at, kind of calculating where these things would be. Hey, that's what... How long have I been doing this for? Has it even been a year? It's a year of experience. No, 2 years. I started doing this in 24. It's about to be 2 years of experience of just, like, full-on trading. Because I quit my job it was in February, okay? We're in January right now. It's about to be 2 years. February year 24 is when I went full-time into trading. Well, really March. February I was like studying, and then March I started opening accounts, adding money, and going crazy on the trades. And then April, of course, I got bombed by Israel and Iran. My whole portfolio is what I'm talking about. Yeah, whatever. Stuff like that has been going on. We survived nonetheless, kind of. I'm still hanging in there, okay? 2025 was a decent year. Made a lot. Was at my peak, but then October 10 happened, and it's worse than anything, honestly. Worse than any potential day you would have ever experienced in crypto was October 10. It ruined us all. Whatever. We're going to recover from that. We know how to do it. We know what to expect. I think this year will be great. Not to jinx it or anything this early on, but yeah, I've got my hopes up. Okay. So, that being said, yes, I do expect Bitcoin to be on the rise from here. I don't know if it's just going to be up only. The only issue is that war in the Middle East that might happen for whatever reason. War with Venezuela, I don't think we're going to have to worry about for a while. There was this thing with Congress that passed where Trump is not allowed to do what he wants in Venezuela anymore without congressional approval, which we'll talk about. I'm just talking about here factors that can impact prices lower. Whatever regime change in Iran happens might have an impact on the price of crypto. I'm hoping for good stuff overall, of course. But yeah, right now, like I said, we are witnessing history is what a lot of people are saying on crypto Twitter. Not crypto Twitter, just Twitter in general. Okay. Tomorrow we are expecting important economic data. Friday, we're getting, if you care about building permits or housing starts, no one really cares about that. Non-farm payroll data and unemployment rate is coming out tomorrow, which should help determine whether or not we would see 1 or 2 rate cuts this year. We're guaranteed to get one from the Fed. Guaranteed, not guaranteed. They can't guarantee anything, but that's what they projected. But what the market is doing, we're being more ambitious with it. We're expecting 2 rate cuts, especially after the guy Powell leaves. So let's hope that we actually get the data that backs this claim. It would further reinforce moves to the upside and also add more liquidity eventually into the markets. We already had 3 rate cuts. Let's not be too greedy. And I mean, prices lower than where we were before the rate cuts even happened. So I do still believe we are oversold, and we're just climbing our way back up little by little. We do have big barriers on Bitcoin, which I've explained, mainly 100,000. A lot of people are going to be eyeing that level and likely taking profits. A lot of people still do believe we are in a bear market, and you'd be correct in saying so. Technically speaking, yeah, we are in a bear market. Look at the weekly indicators. But, I mean, something's off about the cycle, which we've pointed out extensively. So, you know, you can't really rule anything out at this point. Maybe we do rise above 100,000. Maybe we do make an all-time high this year. A lot of people are indeed expecting it. But we were also expecting an alt season last year. We didn't quite get it, did we? We had a good run, but everything got over-deleted October 10th. So there's not much you can really expect from it in that sense. Okay, so that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. The only current green position open. Rest of them are back to red. They've always been red, but not as red. I mean, I didn't see thousands of negative in Ethereum for a minute. That was decent. And Sui gave me some false hopes, but we're still hanging in there. We'll talk about it. So let's go. Ethereum down 1.68%. We did kind of drop to the level I was hoping. And might just do it. I don't know. I don't want to play the news. I'll let the news do its thing tomorrow. I'll let the wars happen if they have to happen. I think we're just going to stick with Bitcoin for now. I don't want to enter any risky trades for the time being, even though I'm going to be not risking too much. I don't know. I might. If I feel like I'm in the mood by the end of the stream, if I even remember to, then yeah, I'll maybe enter a position. Well, Ethereum's price currently 3,121. We dipped to a low of 3,052. I was expecting it to drop between sub 3,070, so that drop to 3,052 would indeed fill any orders that I would have placed if I was going to do it. I didn't really feel like doing it still. I was hoping for a harder drop, maybe to around 3015. But that's maybe a little too dangerous of an expectation, because you'd be, you know, putting in jeopardy the uptrend, right? Which we don't kind of want to do yet with Ethereum. Seems like it's on a good rise so far, but this is the movement I expect from it. Hopefully, if we are to maintain an uptrend. I don't know. So far with Zcash, uptrend is gone, and it's the first to go, but it's got fundamentals behind it, like very specific fundamentals in regards to its dev team resigning, right? So that's a whole separate issue. Might as well talk about it now that I'm on the subject. So here's the chart of Zcash. We had a strong drop from, you know what? From this peak down here, that's like a 26% drop. I'll give it some fairness though. Let's go how far back? 3 a.m. of 6th of January. Nope. Give me 8. 7th of January, 3 a.m. here. The opposite though. Here we go. About a 20% drop, we'll call it, okay? From best to worst within 24 hours, I'd give it a 20% drop on Zcash. Pretty brutal. I did have an open trade here. It was in the green for the whole time. I bought it at a perfect price right over here. You'll notice, like, from this line, if I was to buy indeed over here, it was always in the green until eventually it was not. And it stopped me out where the uptrend invalidates, where the support level breaks, where the uptrend line also invalidates. I was referring to the super trend, right? So that's a fair stop loss. Sure, I could have taken some profit. This was a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio at this height, this peak over here, but that happened in a millisecond. I wasn't paying attention. I was working, okay? This is the issue with working as well. Although I wouldn't even put the blame on work, because even if I wasn't working, I'd probably be doing something else and I wouldn't have been paying attention to the charts 24/7. Okay, I'm not a robot. But I also did have an ambitious take profit. So that's also the, you know, it's part of the game. Whatever. We'll let it do its thing. Very, very oversold with this drop hitting RSI lows of 15. Have you ever seen that? Maybe on October 10. We dropped to a low of 381 for Zcash, going from averaging $500 down to 381. We've recovered to 433 so far. And this is upon, we'll talk more about it, but like rumors or basically confirmations that the dev team is like, nope, we still like Zcash, guys. It's a good project. Please keep buying it. But we're resigning and we're making a new project called Cash Z. Wow, very creative. I don't even know if that's true. I do have an article talking about it from the dev himself, the CEO. So we'll see what it says, but we'll get to that by the end of our news section. So that's been going on with Zcash. Like I said, I'm really happy. This is one time I'm actually happy that I got stopped out, as crazy as it sounds, but that's what it's for, right? For cases like this where something completely unprecedented happens, you're not in control. You rather lose $50 than lose God knows how much this would have been. 400? I don't know, maybe more. So yeah, that's what's been going on with Zcash. No longer a negative funding rate, which is odd. Solana, I kind of talked about it here. We're currently at 139, actually showing strength compared to the rest of the market is Solana, and also Bitensor, which we'll talk about. Nice rise. 143, 144, maybe you could call it, is where we do have a resistance on Solana. Yeah, we do have one psychologically right here, right now at 140, which today's high was close enough to that. $139.98, we'll call that. It was pretty close. The drop that I was expecting was maybe around to 126. It didn't quite happen, so maybe I was expecting too much of a drop from Solana. I don't know. Solana does tend to be pretty volatile, and for some reason we didn't get volatility toward the downside. I did hear a bit of rumors that they're releasing like another token or something like that. And then people are like, wait, but this is cringe. You guys release 50,000 meme scam tokens every day, so like what is the point? Something like that. I don't know, I'd have to research it more. If I do have time, or if I remember by end of the stream, I might look into it. I'm gonna write it down. Solana token. I think there might actually be something towards this. And actually, while I'm at it, Might as well look it up on CoinMarketCap, see if we get anything. Any hits. Solana, number 6. Gosh, remember this was number 3? Those were the good old days. Why are we up? Institutional adoption? No. Technical breakout? No. Market sentiment? Okay, so it doesn't really explain it here either. I don't know, it might be a nothing burger overall. Something that I just saw over there. Nonetheless, we hit a low of 132.64, and we've recovered this much already. We're at a high point right now, about to break 140 and continue to 144. This is where I was giving it its target if I was able to buy it around anything below 130, right? Anything below 130 would have been a good buy with Solana. So I could sell it around 150. But that's ever going to happen. Moving on. Sui, not a lot of movement today, 0%. It's at $1.81. So we're just kind of hovering around here, which is good, you know? Hovering at a healthy area in a very strong uptrend. $2 as its main barrier, of course, support level. I would keep eyeing that 172 level, historical level. That's obviously proven to be very important in multiple occasions. So keep an eye between 172 to $2 for Sui. 181 currently. Okay. Time to enter? Not yet. If we do break the support 172, I'd eye the last one, which would be anything 160 to 164. That's where I'd probably consider entering. Anything below 165 would be a decent entry for Sui, if we are able to, of course, to maintain an uptrend. If war breaks out tomorrow and everything, you know, free falls, then no, what's the point of buying into that? So that's why I'm not putting any limit orders or nothing like that yet. I will keep an eye on the markets and see if I do find a good swing in it, then I will consider my entry there. BitTensor, strong rise, like I said. Didn't get the drop that we wanted either with BitTensor, so it just decided to have a 7% God candle for no reason this morning, reaching a high of $300.42, right there on that psychological level that we've been paying attention to. Of course, after breaking the 285, right, which we also have talked about. So I guess my projection was correct, but the drop was not accurately predicted. How was I going to predict that we were going to drop to a low of 265? I was expecting anything below 250. Whatever. It did its thing. It's very strong right now. It was very oversold, so this is a deserved rise in my opinion. The bad news is that I'm not in it. That's all. Hyperliquid. It's down 4.21% today, $25.73. I like it. I'm waiting for it to approach $25. Either that or $24.50 is another level I mentioned. I don't know. Anything below 25 seems decent to enter, in my opinion, for Hyperliquid. I'm basing it off of this uptrend line. I don't know. Maybe the super trend starts rising as well. I don't think I'll enter here yet, though. I'll stay out of it for now. But I like what I'm seeing so far. If this just comes down a little more, then could give us a good entry opportunity. Chainlink, I also wanted a good drop over here to 1267. No laughing at 6-7 jokes in 2026. But we didn't get the drop, unfortunately. We're currently at $13.28, which that should be a good thing, right? Even if we do continue rising from here, it shows that Chainlink is starting to gain its strength again. So I still have an upward projection for a lot of these other altcoins. Not Zcash, though. I'll leave Zcash over to the side. Might have to give that up for Monero. I don't know. I'll decide by end of stream. Last coin is Aptos. Aptos is at a very critical area. Now this is a trade and a half. Let's do it. I like it. This is basically where I wanted it to go, and my projection is toward the upside. I think we're going to go ahead and go into Aptos here. Go long wherever the price is currently. Stop loss I'm putting right here at 176. Okay. And then I take profit something like this. It's a 1-to-4 risk reward ratio. If we do approach $2, I think we can very easily. Any small amount of capital going into Aptos will absolutely push it above that. I'm going to stop yapping and go ahead and enter. How much would I have to go? We're going long. Stop loss is going to be 176. And give me a risk of $50. Yeah, 49. Okay, come on. 662, 665. Nope. 670, 67, 675. A little more than that. 680. I like that. Open long, go. All right, there we go. We are in Aptos now. This is my projection for it, is at this area, we bounce. We bounce up. And you'll notice I didn't put a take profit yet. That's done on purpose. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. I'll do a 1-to-3 risk-reward ratio for now because I'm obviously going to be very busy. First of all, I'm going to adjust the entry. Where is entry price? 180.50. I like that. 80.50. There we go. Stop loss is at 176. That's perfect. I don't think we're going to hit 176 flat, so I think that's a good stop loss. Using that as a support level. And then take profit. Give me a good number. So where candles do likely tend to close is above this area. So I think 196. 196 looks good. Or maybe I'll just go for a 1-to-3 risk-reward ratio, honestly, from here. Want to get out of here as soon as possible. We're about to go to war soon, so I'll do this. 194, it is. Okay. So what I'll do here is... I actually want to delete this. I hate this. Let me delete this. 176, don't forget. Position TPSL. 176, and my take profit was going to be, what did I say, 94? Oh, $94, imagine. I was wondering, like, why am I going to make $104,000 if Aptos hits $94, imagine. No, that's never going to happen. It could barely crack $10 at its best with enough good capital coming into the market. So it's not going to happen, just letting you know. 0.94. No, 194. Yeah, that was what I wanted. Looks good. Yes. So there's my trade for Aptos. Bitcoin, I'm not putting any stop loss or take profit. I'm just leaving that there. It's like I'm entering back on spot, what I originally had. Although it's not even there yet. My last order with Bitcoin did not get filled, which is so frustrating. I was off by $140, like I said. And that would have given me a really good entry price at maybe 90,000 flat. And, you know, would have been a decent entry. And I would have extra money left over. But whatever, dude. I think we might still, even with the volatility of tomorrow, could give you a spike downward and fill up that order and continue higher. So I'm going to keep it there for now. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to rise it up to 293. Because what was our low again? 280? Yeah, that's fine. 293. If we do peak lower like that again, guarantee the order, please. I'm tired of playing games. Because I did make the mistake of putting it right smack on the line. You do have to give it a bit more breathing room and space, right? Rise it up a little bit more. So that you do ensure that it gets filled. So there's my projections for everything. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Here they are. And, you know, only entering the ones that are giving me good opportunity to do so. So far, that's only been Aptos. Maybe Ethereum if you really want to risk it. I still think Ethereum might, you know, it had a bit lower to drop. That's what I would have liked. Maybe it does continue bouncing up from here. Good for Ethereum if it does. I'm not going to do it though. So I'll just play for safer trades. This is an absolutely safe, guaranteed money trade. Not financial advice, by the way. This is wrong and I'm going to lose money. And you will too if you copy it, so don't. There we go. My little financial disclosure is out of the way. Let's move on to our news. So, in Tehran, Iran, whatever you want to call it, absolute chaos as the Iranian government cuts off internet and cell service amid uprising, which is crazy. The government can just do that? That's not cool. That's not fair. You're taking away my internet and my phone data. Like, come on, dude. A thorough cleanup of the Mossad network in Iran has begun, is what people are alleging. The internet has been cut nationwide in Iran. Phone lines have also been disabled. You can barely call people. There is now a complete blackout. Gunfire can be heard across multiple cities in the country. I don't know from which side that's coming from, if it's from the IRGC or from the citizens. The internet has not just been cut, it has been completely turned off. Even the Iranian government websites have gone offline. So it's something even internally there, the servers. Maybe it was the citizens who managed to do that. with whatever power they have, they're taking control over some Iranian facilities, right? The RGC government offices, which we'll talk about in other posts. Every single app, website, or service based in Iran is currently offline by order of the Cyberspace Command. Okay, well, I guess that proves your answer there. Grok verify. It's verified. Nice. Well, not nice. I don't know. It's getting pretty crazy there. We also noted, even from Flight Radar 24, they also came out to confirm this. About 98% of Flight Radar 24's coverage comes from ground-based receivers. With internet access cut off in Iran, our coverage in Iran is severely reduced. It now relies mainly on limited satellite tracking. It seems like satellites are going to be the only thing that saves this country when it comes to wireless technology here. So yeah, that's basically there, confirmed. And if you don't know what Flight Radar 24 is, you could basically track every plane in the world ever and hot air balloon that is registered. You can see their flight trajectory, their path, where they're going to, where they're from, etc. It's pretty interesting. And people have also noted on Flight Radar that the Russian army is urgently evacuating the staff of the Russian embassy, along with their families, in Israel, returning them to Russia. This is the third flight by Russia in the past 24 hours to evacuate its embassy in Israel. There is some news that Russia has been informed of, apparently, which people have also pointed out. Why is Russia running away? Iran might have told their allies, some of them of course being Russia, China, etc., North Korea, that, hey, we're going to probably counterattack Israel if they attack us first, so get your mans out of the offices there. And Russia's like, okay, we'll get them out. So that's been going on. This was posted from Hebrew, translate it, saying, thank you, Elon Musk, and thanks to whom, and thanks to the satellite Starlink network deployed over the skies of Iran, the regime no longer has control over the information coming out of the country. Good news for the citizens of Iran. Because obviously we're getting footage from there. How is that footage coming to us if there is a blackout? Wireless blackout. Well, it seems like Elon Musk to the rescue. He heard our prayers and he has sent Starlink access over there. I don't know if it's free though. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it's free though, or if it's or if Elon Musk posted anything about it. I doubt he did. But it's just a bunch of stuff like, hey, Grok, put this in the bikini. All right, pal. Elon Musk. Did he tweet anything about Starlink? #1 in the UK. Okay. Here. So it's true that South Africa does not allow Elon Musk to operate Starlink because he is not black. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Is it this? XAI? Nope. La. Elon Musk, Starlink, Iran. Does he mention anything about that? That's what all I want to know. Yeah, he has quietly enabled free Starlink access for protesters, according to people familiar with the matter. So whether you like it or not, Elon Musk is implicated in all this against the Iranian, the IRGC. Well, there you go. Nice. A move was implemented several days ago without public announcement, with protest leaders informed privately. Israeli businessman Dubi Francis raised the issue with Musk's team after an inquiry from the deputy minister Almog Cohen. Musk committed to keeping the network open at no cost while protests continue and instructed Starlink executives to block regime interference. So, yep. Is that a threat? Like, what do you do in that situation? This is an American company taking over your country when you're blocking access to something, and then some other foreign company just comes and undoes what you're doing and blocks you from blocking it. I don't know. What is Iran going to do about this? It's not like I can do anything. Like, what are you going to do? Literally. Okay. Anyways, what else has been going on? Tehran is ringing with gunfire, as we talked about, as the protests hit a boiling point. Iran is going full throttle tonight. It seems more intense than before. I'm seeing more posts about it. The protests exploded across more than 100 cities, the most intense yet, and now heavy gunfire echoes through Tehran streets, packed with massive crowds. People risking it all against the regime, storming governor headquarters, torching police rides, building barricades. The IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the elite hardcore loyalists who crush dissent and guard the clerics, reportedly are unloading on protesters. Okay, so that's the stuff that I do not want to hear happen, because we know that Trump is going to come to the rescue if that is the case, meaning that the United States is going to get involved in this, and so will Israel, of course. The poly market odds spiked to 55%. Khamenei falls this year. Forces stretched thin, some even clapping for crowds elsewhere. Feels like the regime's grip is slipping fast. The whole world is watching this one. And that is true. I do have, here. Yeah, 55% odds that Khamenei Jr. gets dethroned this year. The guy is planning to probably evacuate to Russia, to Moscow. And also part of the reason why we saw Moscow evacuating some of its citizens. I mean, not its citizens, but its important people from the embassy, I don't know, in Israel. Because Iran would have told him, hey, Russia would have told Iran, hey, tell us what your plans are. And if you do, then I guess we'll help you. We're like, okay, well, we might bomb Israel as well in retaliation if they do try to interfere in our politics. So, you know, evacuate your people. Okay. That's kind of been going on here. Why did my stuff lag? Go back. The first government building in the Iranian capital of Tehran is on fire. There you go, confirmed. And people are clapping and cheering it on. Just goes to show that this is actually like, we're living history here. This might actually go down, you know, a long-awaited protester's dream. I don't know what to call this. People in Iran have been waiting for this for a long time. So, yeah. There's also reports emerging from Iran that indicate that in Fars province, protesters have overrun and taken control of an IRGC facility. Another one. Iranian protesters have removed the Islamic flag. They replaced it with the monarchical Shah flag at a city center in Khorramabad. And this might end up actually being the new flag. If you can see it, it's like the Iranian flag, but instead of the swords and the... Is it a... I don't want to be racist. Is it a turban? It's not a turban. What is the Iranian flag? Oh my gosh. Dude. Okay, so it's either this. It looks like a turban to me. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just a bunch of lines and what appears to be swords. I think they're swords, at least. I'm uneducated in this. And it seems like this is what they're going to replace it back with. The true flag of Iran. The state flag of Iran. What is it called again? The old Persian monarchical Shah flag. What is Shah? I'm learning all this for the first time. Yeah, it is this. So we might get a flag change back to this if a regime change does happen in Iran. People really want it. Seems to be over there. We also have reports of Delta Force operators, the same guys who captured President Maduro in Venezuela. They're now repositioning to the Middle East as the Iran crisis escalates. The same special elite operations unit that captured Nicolas Maduro days ago are now allegedly moving to the Middle East. You already saw reports of planes of refilling oil tankers, jets, whatever it was, already making their way to the Middle East from the US bases in England. So maybe something indeed will happen there. And there's more to this, by the way, which I'll get into. Anyways, over a dozen US strategic airlifters have crossed the Atlantic to Britain and then eastward. Okay, well, literally what I just explained. I'm not reading ahead, I promise. I'm reading all this for the first time. They're carrying helicopters operated by the Night Stalkers, the elite unit that flew Delta Force commandos into Caracas. Delta Force has reportedly pivoted to the Middle East, with Army Rangers and air assault forces from Europe being repositioned rapidly. Delta Force operators are reportedly taking position along Iraq's borders within Syria and Jordan, possibly going to be targeting Iran-backed militias refusing to disarm. Did you guys also see, by the way, in Syria northern region. They're fighting against the Kurds, the Turkish, again. I don't know why. Just heavy armament is being used there, so that's also happening while in the middle of all this. I don't have an article talking about it. I did have one, but there was so many and I just had to delete some. There's some stuff that I did have to delay that I'm probably going to have to talk about tomorrow, but it's just not stuff that's breaking news relevant to today right now, so I figured we could wait on that maybe till tomorrow. Anyways, back to the important. Flight tracking shows US and Britain refueling tankers headed into the region, basically what I explained. An unexplained blackout across Greek and Cypriot airspace Monday may have masked US asset movements. American intelligence aircraft are operating continuously off Iran's coast. The CENTCOM commander just made the long journey to Bahrain. Trump, this is in Lebanon? Bahrain? Oh, it's a country. I thought it was a city. I'm thinking of Beirut. Beirut is in Lebanon. Yes, capital of Lebanon. Remember that big explosion that happened there? That was pretty cool. It wasn't cool. People died. I'm sorry. Trump warned last week that if Iran killed peaceful protesters, the US was locked and loaded and ready to go. That's when the death toll was single digits. It now stands at 35. I think their patience is kind of wearing out. They're going to probably do something about this. Iran on the brink, protests nationwide, economy collapsing. This is why it's all happening, by the way. The economy is indeed collapsing. Ayatollah is reportedly planning to escape to Russia, as I've also explained. Over 350 protests have erupted across 28 of Iran's 31 provinces since December 28, with at least 35 people dead and over 1,200 detained. The trigger is the Iranian currency collapsing 80% in a year, which is now trading at 1.4 million rials to $1. Food inflation hit 70%, and you're complaining that steak is $70 in Canada? Come on. Look at what the Iranians have to deal with, for crying out loud. Then the regime raised gas prices. We're complaining about $3 a gallon in California, although that is Governor Newsom's fault. I mean, look at, what was the cheapest one again? Was it Colorado? It was like sub $2 already, which is crazy. I think. I talked about the gas prices yesterday. Unlike in 2022 Masha Amini protests about religion and social values, this one is purely economic. So it's not about you're Muslim and we hate Muslims. No, it's about, okay, our money system sucks. Something's got to change. And even the Iranian president has admitted it. Is like, yep, guys, we failed. It's our fault. It's not Ayatollah's fault. Although they have been chanting stuff like death to the Ayatollah and stuff like that, I think. That makes it more unifying and more dangerous for the regime as well, hitting everyone from civilians to soldiers to local religious leaders. That's basically everybody's in on it. Iran's president admitted in a televised speech, again, it's reading my mind, or I'm reading its mind, whatever. The president admitted in a televised speech, the government simply does not have that capacity to handle the crisis alone. Weren't they going to give them, like, I talked about it yesterday, a $7 free money check every month? That's just insulting. Like, honestly, it would make people even more angry. Leaked central bank directives tell banks to prepare for mass shutdowns, infrastructure collapse, and regime-wide chaos, which we have talked about, and it seems like that is about to happen. Western intelligence report that the supreme leader has an escape plan. Fly to Russia with 23 aides, family members, and a plane full of cash if the protests overwhelm security forces. Sure, dude, of course the Ayatollah is going to escape with all the money. The plan mirrors how Assad fled in Syria in 2024. Remember that? Israel is watching closely and signaling support for protesters. They are funding some of it, indeed. Netanyahu may have approved military strikes that could launch within 48 hours. Dude, they're going to nuke our bags again. Okay. Well, this is also what I was talking about, where Trump getting involved is in. There's videos of like protesters getting, I don't think this is a protester. I think, okay, I don't know if I can show that. Pause video. Thank you. President Trump warns that the US is ready to unleash devastating strikes on Iran if the regime targets its own protesters. He says officials are watching the situation very closely, and like I said, 35 people are already dead. If they go down that path, they're going to pay hell. Video captures, okay, protesters are brutally stomping a member of Iran's security forces. So protesters attacking the IRGC, that's okay. IRGC attacking the protesters, not okay. And we will bomb you, and so will Israel, and the United States, and everyone, is what it seems to be the situation. Okay. This is where the pizza gets involved. Yes, pizza. You've heard that right. Why? The pizza index. At the Pentagon, there seems to be something going on over there. The Department of War is planning something. There's a huge reunion, a meeting going on as we speak. Why do we know this? Because the local pizzerias around the Pentagon are busier than usual. Much busier than usual. There's very high traffic at various pizzerias near the Pentagon during lunchtime today, which means that the Pentagon is full today. Everybody is in. They're cooking something up. And it's not pizzas. Maybe it's Iran strikes. So, we have the warnings going on. Literally, here's a map of all the pizzas getting delivered. So funny. All the local pizzerias, busier than usual. I think this is on a normal day. Is this on a what does this show? Busier than usual, much quieter than usual, quieter than usual. When is this? I don't know. But it shows like We the Pizza, Papa John's Pizza, much busier than usual. The pizza meter is spiking. Net blocks, Iran backbone connectivity dropping. And on Polymarket, the odds of Israel striking Iran by January 31st is climbing day by day. Is it time to place a bet before the apocalypse starts? I'm not going to do it, because what if they actually don't end up doing anything? But yeah. Network data shows loss of connectivity on Iran internet backbone provider TCI in the restive city of Kermanshah as protests spread across the nation in their 12th day. The incident comes amid rising casualties with indications of disruptions in multiple regions. Yeah, we do kind of know that. This is the big Polymarket bet insider trade, potentially. 7 months ago, I'll give you some context here. There was a possible IDF insider on Polymarket called Rico Suave 666. He predicted the exact day that Israel would strike Iran last year. He won $154,000. Obviously, this guy knows something. He is in the IDF, or knows about what they're planning. He is now back on Polymarket. He just bet a massive portion of money that another strike will happen on Iran by Israel by January 31st. This is the account if you care to know. And it's gained a lot of attention, 1.3 million views, which that causes a big domino effect. The guy that got it right once last year is about to get it right potentially this year, and he's betting big money. We're all going to start buying because he obviously knows something, and we want to ride that wave of money. Well, he sold his position already, in profit probably. He changed his username to try and hide, and he withdrew his funds to his main wallet. So what's going on? Was it a quick cash grab, smart play, or was the whole mission cancelled? And he just made profit either way. Suspicious. But yeah, that's also been going on. Trump's comment on whatever's been going on over there in the Middle East. He basically said he didn't want to meet with the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi of Iran. He didn't want to meet with anybody, not discuss Iran, not anything with the officials or none of that. He said it would be inappropriate. And instead, Trump wants to see who would emerge naturally as leader for Iran. What a change of heart. When it was Canada's turn of getting a new leader, man, Trump weighed in heavily on our politics, to the point of getting Mark Carney elected. Arguably for his own benefit, and he might actually end up annexing Canada next. If you look at the maps, dude, Alaska, Greenland, it's all surrounding Canada. If we do take over Greenland, if Denmark allows it, yeah, Canada seems to be like this gaping hole that needs to be filled. So they will be the ones who do it. It's looking like that. Our economy is not doing that great either. Everything's too expensive and it sucks. So I don't know. If they want to like make America 90% more radical left, go ahead and annex Canada, because that's what it seems like it is right now. I want to think there's hope. Like, I think it's still 50-50 of liberals versus conservatives. We saw the previous election race. It was pretty tight. Although liberals did end up winning overall. It's just like, it's mainly in the cities, the most populated areas. The districts are so tiny, and it's all just liberal leaders that won those ridings in Canada. I'm going to stop talking about Canadian politics. I have more to talk about for Greenland and Canada. We'll be discussing more about that tomorrow. That's also news I kind of pushed over to the side because we have so much to talk about today. So we're not even halfway, by the way. Or I think we are halfway through our news. That basically puts an end to this, right? Trump doesn't want to comment on who he believes should be the next leader of Iran, which means that he does expect that to happen. Anyway. This is what I was talking about earlier about Venezuela. Are we going to do any military action there? Probably not much. U.S. Senate passes Venezuela War Powers Resolution, a bill, winning 52-47 in votes, which backs limits to block Trump from further Venezuela military action without congressional authorization. Without congressional authorization. So he still can do, I don't know, military strikes in Venezuela, but it has to be approved by Congress. And boy, oh boy, are we about to lose the House this, is it the House? The Senate? I don't know. Midterms elections happening this year, right? Democrats are projected to win that. That's all there is really to it. So yeah. On the topic of, well, ICE, Venezuela, I don't know. There was a shooting that happened at Portland, where it's a very sensitive topic nowadays because ICE and the lady that got shot yesterday, it's still like rampant in everyone's minds. Hold on, what is even happening here? There's so much. I'm going to read through headlines because this is way too much. So, the breaking news was that federal agents at ICE shot 2 more people in Portland. The left is not going to like that, let me tell you. They say they shot a husband and a wife in Portland after unverified reports that they tried to run over agents. Again, it's happening again. Weaponizing your vehicle, or is that just a new tactic for ICE to kill civilians, not civilians? We don't even know who these people are yet. But they are getting in the way of law enforcement. Right? That's why they're getting shot. And honestly, that's the lady that got shot yesterday. Yeah, she's been protesting against ICE all day, driving in from very far away. We'll talk more about her in a sec. And she's just interfering with law enforcement. What did you expect was going to happen? And the guy that shot her, apparently he has had this kind of trauma of getting ran over and dragged by a car for 300 feet? Or no, I don't know. Something like that. He's had a previous experience with getting ran over by cars or dragged by a car and being hospitalized over that. And he wasn't about to let that happen again or take the risk. It was a split-second decision, and he had to shoot and kill the woman as self-defense, and he might actually end up winning the case for that. Do I agree with it? Maybe not. I don't know. It didn't look like his life was in danger, but it could have been. You never know. You weren't there. You weren't in his shoes. We only have video evidence off of that. I'm not a legal expert. Let them decide. I'm okay with whatever they decide. Anyways, this is a whole separate situation, and this one seems to actually be targeted. I don't think we have like actual video evidence of anything happening. It says that they're taken alive, but then they got shot, and then it's like, what is even happening here? Portland mayor calls on ICE to end all operations after federal agents shoot 2 people. That's twice now. It's now another governor, or it's not a governor, this is a mayor of Portland, Oregon, I think. I don't know my geography. Keith Wilson is also asking ICE, hey man, get out. Don't do your operations in my city if you're going to be shooting people. And it's like, well, they're trying to run us over. So what do? We're doing our jobs, is what ICE has been saying. Okay. And same thing happened yesterday with Tim Walz asking, you know what, guys, leave. We're deploying the National Guard. Let us do our thing. Get ICE out of here, right? FBI Portland released this saying, we're investigating an agent-involved shooting that happened at approximately 2:15 p.m. near, I'm not reading that address, involving Customs and Border Patrol agents, which 2 individuals were wounded. This remains active and ongoing investigation led by the la. And then they deleted that tweet. And people are like, why did you delete the tweet? Aren't we still investigating the situation? You should have that posted to the public. It's already been made public. Here's the actual tweet. Here's another one, actually. This is from Homeland Security, DHS. U.S. Border Patrol agents were conducting a targeted vehicle stop in Portland, Oregon. Yes, I was right. The passenger of the vehicle and target is a Venezuelan illegal alien. So now the plot thickens. The Portland shooting suspect tried to run over agents. Target was a Trinidad gang member. So this guy was no saint, really. And here, I think, is a picture of the guy giving us the beautiful fingers that he has. Portland shooting target was Trinidad gang member tied to prostitution ring and a recent shooting. And that's the relation with Venezuela. There you go. Happy story. Moving on. The lady, what was her name again? Please remind me. Renee Nicole Good, that was her name. She was previously married to a man. Yes, I'm going to be talking about this. She has a 6-year-old child who is now orphaned after losing both parents, so the dad must have died. She turned lesbian and leftist. She has a wife, had a wife, gets killed at 37. Shot by an ICE agent in Minneapolis yesterday. Was previously married to Timmy Ray. Okay, we're doxing the guy now. He died in 2023 at age 36. Also taken from us too early. They did have a child together, now 6 years old. So she might have been bi. I don't even know what she is. That child has now lost both biological parents. She is left with the lesbian stepmother. Do we call it that now? Okay. The boy's grandfather told the Star Tribune, there's nobody else in his life. I'll drive, I'll fly to come and get my grandchild. Okay, so he's going to live with the grandpa. Obviously, my heart goes out to the kid. No kid deserves to have their parents orphaned. No way, is that right? They don't deserve to be orphaned and have their parents die, right? Okay, so that's been happening. I don't know how the father died. It doesn't explain here, but moving on. Her mother, whose mother? The mother of Mrs. Good. She was probably terrified. She was not part of anything like that at all, referring to protesters challenging ICE. DHS said, though, that she weaponized her vehicle and attempted to run over law enforcement officers, calling it domestic terrorism. Okay. So I guess that kind of concludes that. Like I said, she was wrong place, wrong time. What are you doing there? Don't you have a job? Leave the people alone. You literally have a 6-year-old. And you're out there putting yourself in danger like this. Something like this was bound to happen. And that's all there could really be said about it. What's worse, though, is the protests that are going on about it. And I'll talk about that next. Good was previously married to a man, had a child with him. The man died in 2023. She later lived with a female partner in Minneapolis. Her Instagram featured pride flags and she/her pronouns. Classic. Tonight, protesters held a vigil, chanting, "Say her name, Renee Good." What else did we use "say her name" for? Was it Laken Riley? Say her name. They're using the same rhetoric as, oh, okay, never mind. This is for black women and girls killed by police violence. Well, newsflash, Mrs. Good is not black. But I'm sure it could be for literally anyone. I remember people saying, say her name for, Laken Riley, I think. She was like this other lady who was killed by an illegal migrant, brutally raped and murdered. So, yeah. Anyways, invoking the same language used after George Floyd as well. So literally, the George Floyd of 2026 is this lady. Whatever happened in those 60 seconds, a 6-year-old boy lost his mother today, 2 years after losing his father. Yeah, that is tragic, of course. Didn't they also mention that there was 3 kids total? Or was that just, oh my gosh, she killed a mother and she might have had kids? Was that the thing? Public schools got closed over this? That is excessive, dude. Come on. Okay. An ICE agent pinata. Like, this is the stuff that the left is doing with their protests. They also chant Charlie Kirk's name in Seattle. I'm assuming nothing good coming out of that. And obviously, like, it goes the same way, doesn't it? Right? The people on the right are not celebrating the death of this lady. Yes, she did have children, right? Or a kid, I don't know. We're not celebrating the murder of this, obviously. As much as the left was celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk because he had it coming. He put himself in that situation. Same kind of deal. Not really. He was just peacefully debating people, speaking his mind. It's a free speech, First Amendment right, law, country. You can say whatever you want. And he was doing it peacefully and, in my opinion, saying the correct stuff. Oh, wow. Literally powered by Turning Point USA. Coincidence. I don't know. We were just randomly talking about this. But the people on the left celebrated his death, and people on the right were like, dude, what are you doing? He had a wife and kids that are now orphaned and widow, right? So you can't be celebrating death like this. That's just despicable. But they're doubling down on it. They're also chanting in Foley Square. Where is this? New York? New York City, yeah. They're calling for Kristi Noem, this is the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, to be hanged and ICE officers to be killed. They're literally chanting stuff like, Kristi Noem will hang, save a life, kill ICE. Alright, dude. So that's the kind of stuff that's going on over there. More crazy stuff going on in Honduras. I remember seeing, there's like so much political violence going on. It's either in Nicaragua or Honduras. I think it's both. Honduras being the main one. A lot of political violence going on. A congresswoman was hit with an explosive device thrown by a left-wing extremist outside Congress. Political violence is escalating in Honduras. Congresswoman Gladys Aurora Lopez was injured today when an explosive device was thrown at opposition lawmakers outside the National Congress in Tegucigalpa. I never heard of that city. Tegucigalpa. The device struck her in the head before detonating, which is pretty scary. The footage is here. May or may not show it. I think I will show it, but I'll give you a warning beforehand. There's no blood. It's just a big explosive cloud and the video just cutting at that instant. Which, that's a perfectly cut video, by the way. I don't know if that was done on purpose. It might have been. She sustained injuries to her head and back and was bleeding at the scene. She is now out of danger. She's receiving treatment at a private hospital. The attackers were apparent left-wing extremists. Honduras is in political crisis following November elections that the National Party's Nasritito Asfura won. Tensions exploded after Trump pardoned the former president Juan Orlando Hernandez in December, which we've talked about, who had been serving a U.S. prison sentence on drug trafficking charges. Where even I questioned, like, why is this guy getting pardoned? It seems like people were telling Trump, yeah, you should pardon him, and Trump just did. That's what seems to have happened, which people in Honduras clearly do not like that. The left views the National Party's victory as illegitimate, and they're throwing bombs at lawmakers now. The National Party condemned it as political violence and demanded an immediate investigation. There was no arrests that have been made yet. This is what happens when elections don't go the way extremists want. They stop using balance and start using explosives. Here's the video. Graphic warning, okay? This is the Congress lady. Look at the grenade that gets thrown over here. Bang right there, and the video just cuts. The explosion didn't seem too massive, right? Okay, I don't know if I should be slowing it down there, but she survived. There was like aftermath footage of like her back scraped with blood and stuff, because obviously the fragments of the explosion would have damaged her in some way. It was also pretty impressive, the timing of that detonation. It seems like after it bounced off her head, that's when it exploded. And I don't even know how you configure that to happen. It was either perfect timing or like the impact was also just there. Here's the... What even is this, dude? Is that a grenade? If it was a grenade, everybody here would be dead. But it was just like a small explosion. It must have been a handmade, made from home, DIY, trash. What do you call it? Improvised explosive device, IED. That's what I'm thinking about. Okay. Yeah, that is also incredible accuracy to be thrown from like literally the other side of the ocean. Okay, I shouldn't zoom in there. And to land perfectly like right on the back of her head. Dude, I don't know. This is all just too perfect, but obviously bad, terrible situation, scary, don't want that to happen to anyone, condemn it. Moving on. No more geopolitical stuff, guys. Get out of here. Get out of here with that. We're going to talk about Bitcoin and Zcash. First things first. Notable trade alert. Insider trading, potentially. Or maybe it's the guy's first time buying Bitcoin. We don't know. Byron Donalds, congressman. No, he's this guy sits on the Financial Services Subcommittee on Digital Assets. He's got an important position of power here on digital assets. He just bought up to 100,000 worth of Bitcoin. This is his first ever buy of Bitcoin, and it's at a relatively low price in the last 6 months, which we do know for Bitcoin. It's pretty terrible. But he's buying now, which is good. Good for us. I was going to look him up. I don't know much about the guy. Byron Donalds. Okay, pal. What do you got? U.S. representative. He's Republican. Florida. He's been here since. He's 43 years old. He's got a spouse. Since 2016 to 2020. And what is he doing now? Oh, he's now a representative. Oh, since 2021. Okay, I got you. Since 2021, truly. But he's been in the game since 2016 as a Republican. Cool. Well, welcome to the Bitcoin gang, am I right? Zcash, moving on. We had a big fat drop of, 21%. I did the calculation pretty correctly. The entire Zcash core dev team has resigned all at once, resulting in a $1.6 billion wipeout from its market cap. Despite this drop, it's still relatively high on the CoinMarketCap chart, if I'm not mistaken. Here's Monero. It was neck and neck with Monero. Monero being the other competitor privacy coin that's also been around for just as long, if not longer, and arguably even more private than Zcash. Zcash has this optional feature of being unprivate for the purpose of like regulation, because a lot of exchanges don't like to list Monero, but they'll happily list Zcash because it's an optional privacy feature on Zcash, which is what made it a little better, and part of the reason why I picked Zcash over Monero, because of the fact that it would be allowed or permitted to use in a lot more exchanges because of that optional feature. Monero does not have that, and a lot of exchanges don't like to list it, but that's what also makes it actually like, it's made for this purpose. This is what Monero is built for privacy, right? Fully encrypted, and you don't know who is sending money where, which is a criminal's dream, right? So yeah, that's the difference between the two. And also Zcash had the Bitcoin tokenomics going on for it, which I also appreciated. Monero's got an infinite money supply, but the supply hasn't been inflating, at least not as much. The only issue I saw with Zcash is like, okay, can we talk about like whatever this is, the fact that it started off at $4,293 and then crashed to $90, $50 and averaged around that for its entire lifespan. We had a good rise over here in 2018, sorry, not even in 2021. We didn't even rise that much. But, I mean, in recent times, we've been doing our good rise. Let me go back to a yearly chart. This is when, like, privacy coins woke up from the dead and what gathered everyone's attention right over here. Suspicious, Probably. We can't trust the guy, like I said, or girl, whatever you want to call it. Zcash core team resigned. The token is in free fall now. Great. Remember, this is Emma, one of the transgender devs at Zcash. I wanted to talk about this first. Zcash goes sideways for eternity, and then pumps 2,000% in a couple months, and then the entire core dev team resigns. Pretty suspicious, and I'll agree. That is a little suspicious. This is the 2021 bull market. Okay, sideways movement, and then now we start seeing a good rise. But admittedly, we did see it in a lot of other privacy tokens, although Zcash led the way in terms of gains. That we got to give it credit for. So the Zcash devs have resigned, and they may form a new company is what is now being talked about. The entire Zcash team at Electric Coin Company, ECC, resigned on January 7, following a board dispute, and they are considering forming a new company, leaving Zcash's roadmap uncertain. So there's still Zcash that is going to be mined. There is still Zcash. There will only be 21 million. But what's the point of that? Will the price even be able to keep up with it if the demand... No, if the supply... Yeah, if the demand is not there, the supply is just going to exist and the price is not going to move much. Yes, it will have a fixed supply if eventually it all gets mined. You might as well just buy Bitcoin at that point because you know that everybody else is buying Bitcoin. At this point, Zcash, I don't think nobody's buying into this. And good thing Monero doesn't have a higher team, indeed. But the devs, specifically Josh Sweetheart, who now he's updated his bio to former CEO of Electric Coin Co., ECC that I said, creators of the Zcash app. He's now working on cashz.org, which I'll visit in a second. He says, we're all in on Zcash, guys. We haven't rug pulled you. We didn't force sell. We didn't massively liquidate everybody's positions. We need to scale Zcash to billions of users. Startups can scale, but nonprofits can't. This is why we created a new Zcash startup, calling it cashz.org. What a creative name. My email... Did I just see this number rise in real time? 4,000 people interested. Everybody drops $1. That's $4,000. Nobody's buying this, dude. I think it's safe to say Zcash is gone. And here's Monero, of course. Not the actual Monero, but... What is this? Is it a fan account? Yeah, not followed by anyone I'm following. Good morning, Zcashers. We're just laughing at them, basically. Great, thank you for that. Hey, Grok, remove the scam privacy coin from this pick. Zcash is gone, meaning that Monero stays. And we do have Monero here. I might take out Zcash, or maybe I'll short it. I don't know. I'm feeling like a bit of a shorter right now. But shorting it right here, not ideal for my case. I would obviously want to wait for this to like be over here so that I could short it, but then it's like you're expecting Zcash to erase all the loss, if that makes sense. Remake all of the loss, regain all the loss. And that's not going to happen. 43% pump. I don't think Zcash will do well anymore, frankly. The team is gone. It's basically the same thing as Cadena, like I said. Cadena, same deal. Their whole team resigned. The coin just exists, and it's in the void. It used to be in the top 20s back in 2021. And now it's nothing burger. KDA. Lovely. 1,500. This is just weakness of the coin overall. I think this is when the team resigned. I could probably look it up. I have it on my channel. I covered it live. Maybe it was in October. Everything was just bearish in October. Let me just look it up, dude. When did Cadena devs resign? October 21st, yes. Which would have been over here. This drop right over here was caused by everybody just resigning. And the coin has been performing poorly for the whole time. It's been flatlining. But it was doing really good in 2021. I remember like buying at literally $20. Literally at $20. I was here. I was buying this darn coin. buying it at $10, $8, $6, and then eventually at some point in 2023, I had it all on spot, by the way. I just converted it all to Bitcoin, and I'm like, you know what? Screw all these altcoins. Screw Shiba Inu. Screw Axie Infinity, ApeCoin, Cardano, Phantom at the time, what currently is Sonic. Forget all of that. I'm converting it all into Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin will eventually rise, and if it does rise and all crypto revives, this was me in 2023, by the way, then I'll make something back, and I don't even know if these coins will ever do anything. They're all trash. Even I, not knowing that much, knew that they were trash. I didn't know that when I was buying that, though, which would have been nice to know. But anyway, so that's Zcash for you. Might switch to Monero if you really do care about the privacy narrative. Either that or the D one. What is the D? Dino? No, it's not Dino. What is it called? D something. No, it's not Die. It was like it was far down the list. I could just look up privacy coins, right? Categories. Privacy. Gambling. Where is... Am I blind? Privacy blockchain. Countdown, Midnight, Tezos, Starknet. These are not... This is not it. There is more stuff. Privacy. Here it is. Monero, Zcash. Okay. Litecoin, that's not privacy. Canton, sure. I don't even know what the project does. Midnight, Tezos, sure. Dash, that's what I'm talking about. Dash. It's number 94. Yeah, no, I'm not buying this. What is the tokenomics here? Max supply, 18 million. It's got a max supply. That's good. Only 12 million in circulation. What is this in percentages? 66% in circulation. I don't think I'm going to buy that. I'll stick with Monero. Monero's been around and it's endorsed by my favorite software developer, John McAfee. So I think I'll stick with that. Why did all this happen? You're probably wondering. I do have articles talking about why this happened. Zcash token is crashing after the ECC, Electric Coin Company team resignation. I think that's what ECC stands for. I literally talked about it and I forgot what it stands for. Here's what actually happened. Oh, it's literally there. Electric Coin Company. Yes, I was right. On January 7, the entire team resigned. We noted this yesterday, right? We saw why Zcash was going down. We're like, what is going on? This does not seem natural. Somebody must know something. Or maybe this is an early sign for a downtrend to come for the rest of the coins, because Zcash was one of the first to start its uptrend, right? Which we compared with Bitcoin. So that was a concern of mine. But now I understand that this problem is specifically related to Zcash, and it might not even affect the rest of the, the crypto market as expected, right? I was thinking like this is an early sign. Maybe it's going to happen to Bitcoin as well. We're going to flip into a downtrend and follow what Zcash is doing. But no, it's not. It's not going to. Aptos is likely to rise from here. We kind of already see that right now. Already $10 in profit. No big deal. I could buy 2 slices of pizza with that money. Plus tax. And I think Bitcoin will also start rising from here, which I am now a proud member of getting back in here. This is my projection. And hopefully this is all if tomorrow's economic data is good for us. No matter what happens, even if the economic data is excellent, it's fabulous, we're going to get a 10 a.m. drop. Guaranteed. Whatever. If it does happen, I'll buy more. No big deal. I've got plenty of money. So, 25 people resigned in Zcash, including Josh Sweetheart and Chelsea Comlow, the chief scientist and the CEO. The reason was an internal governance conflict with the Bootstrap board designed by Sweetheart as constructive dismissal. The Zcash network is still running, but about the dump rumors that the insiders rugged Zcash, on-chain data doesn't really support that. Neither does the charts. The charts on Zcash, this does not really look like a rug pull. A rug pull will look like, just look at Cadena or Terra Luna. Here's the actual flows. Okay, I don't think we really want to read this. Zcash deposited to Binance. These transactions happened days before the resignation of the whole team. And, well, today there's been zero transfers there's been zero transfers greater than 10,000 Zcash tokens, and there's normal block activity. So there hasn't been any big trades by this team of like mass exodus, and that's why we don't see a huge drop on the price. Yes, the drop is big, but that's just the rest of the market reacting to the problem. I would have taken my money out, and I did, if I was aware of this situation. The real problem was governance as to why this thing ended up collapsing, why the devs resigned. Who maintains the roadmap? Who will fund the protocol development? Does the community coordinate around a new dev entity? The question still is unanswered. Could this be good? Probably, if they manage it correctly, and if there's no dev team. I mean, there's no dev team for Bitcoin, really, right? If we want to keep this into a privacy token, sure. If you want any votes, make it done by the community, a community-driven governance vote, sure. And this would mean it would be more decentralized, sort of like what Monero is, right? Monero is also decentralized. Sure, it does have a founder and everything, but there's no active dev team, from what I understand. Does Monero XMR have a dev team? I actually don't know too much about this. There's no company behind the Monero project to manage dev work. It's an open source project. That's the difference. Open source, or you have a dev team behind it, basically. Okay, well, it has a large community of developers and researchers, but it is decentralized. And could this happen for Zcash? That's kind of what I'm speculating here. Could potentially be beneficial for Zcash. But overall, right now, uncertainty, no one likes that, and everybody's selling off. So I'm part of that. Here's another thread talking about the whole thing. Yes, the team resigned. ECC is the original developer behind Zcash's privacy tech, and Josh Sweetheart and the entire staff team walked out after a deep governance dispute. The ECC developers resigned after a governance clash. The CEO calls it a constructive discharge. The conflict was with the Bootstrap board. Developers are forming a new company. Zcash protocol continues, but the roadmap is now unclear. What do we mean by Bootstrap board? What I understand Bootstrap to be is this framework for you to create CSS. This is my web developer brain talking. What does this actually mean? It literally is Bootstrap. No, it's... Okay, this is the Bootstrap that I'm talking about, but I don't think we're talking about the same thing here. Bootstrap board. What do I do? Crypto? CoinDesk. Okay, you literally give me the Zcash news, but Zcash backer Bootstrap. Are we talking about... Bootstrap is a nonprofit that supports Zcash and a governance dispute that led to the departure of everybody. Okay. Is this like the executive director of Bootstrap, the actual Bootstrap company? Who is the executive director of Bootstrap project? A nonprofit that supports Zcash. So it's not the web developer Bootstrap. Okay, it's an actual other company, Bootstrap project. And that is Josh Sweetheart. Okay, so conflicting between the two companies. That's what it appears to be. The developers are forming a new company. Okay, great, another one. Zcash protocol continues. Yeah, I just read that. The board members, I'm not reading their names. Who cares? As long as Emma's not there. I'm kidding. ECC says the board changed employment terms so drastically the team could no longer work with integrity. That's why they left. What a lame excuse. Instead of compromising their mission, the entire team chose to walk. They're now launching a new company to continue building. Unstoppable private money. Yay, more privacy tokens. Yeah, same builder, same mission. This is literally my honest reaction. The rolling eyes emoji. Critical clarification from Sweetheart. He said that the Zcash protocol is unaffected. It's open source and it keeps running. Okay, so there you go. Decentralized now. This is a governance and leadership crisis. It's not a protocol one. But the markets immediately repriced the risk. It dropped more than 14%, almost 20%, following the news. It just had a strong run, but now uncertainty is rising. Why this matters? It is a privacy-first chain. Its value depends heavily on its core developers, which are non-existent. Multiple leadership exits over recent years. That's not good. I'm pretty sure that transgender Emma also resigned, either due to the public comments about it, or I didn't even want to look this up, dude. It's weird. Forget about it. The investor confidence also took a hit. This moment is bigger than Zcash. It's a reminder that protocols can survive, communities can persist, but governance failure compounds. Crypto risk isn't always on chain. So what's next? Zcash continues under Bootstrap's governance. So Bootstrap is taking over the ECC. The original builders pursue privacy elsewhere. The community fractures, the narrative resets. It's a critical inflection point for the whole ecosystem. I think myself and a lot of others will be moving on to Monero. Code can be copied, communities can migrate, but broken governance leaves scars. Zcash has just entered its defining chapter. That's the wrap. Okay. Governance trauma. Nice. Yeah, that's all the news I'm going to cover for today. I've been at it for an hour and 20 minutes somehow. But that's Zcash for you. That's Zcash. That is Iran. And what else did I even talk about? ICE? Renee Good? Crazy woman, am I right? All right. Having a sip of tea. Okay, so that is all for tonight. Only entered into Aptos tonight. Right there. Best potential entry. And Bitcoin. Been entering since last night. Would have preferred this to enter, but look how perfect my drawing was, dude. This drawing was made on January 6th, 2 days ago. Whether or not this will continue, I hope it does, because it'd be pretty cringy if, you know, something like this were to happen. And be like, that's not normally what's supposed to happen. But I don't know. My expectation is this. Obviously not all the way up to here. I'm expecting it to at least approach resistance at 95,000. That's where I'd maybe even consider taking a profit. Wherever we're overbought, that's where I'll take a profit, okay? Whether that's 95 or 98,000. 100,000, maybe next week, if we're in a good mood and if there is no war in Iran. But it seems like stuff is escalating there. I don't know. This might be a short-lived one. And if Bitcoin does end up dropping upon this news, so be it. I don't know what Bitcoin has to do with the war, but people like to get rid of their risky assets and buy gold and oil if these wars do continue. Speaking of oil, that darn thing has been on the rise, despite the fact that Venezuela has been seized of its assets. So yeah. And also, whatever happened with Venezuela getting their potentially 600,000 Bitcoin seized by the United States and taken out of circulation, I think that's already priced in over here, and part of the reason why we rose to 95,000 on Bitcoin. Can we go back up there? I believe so. If tensions ease a little bit in the Middle East, should be good. What am I looking for? I'm looking for oil. So this is what I want to show. Look at this rise. Generational shorting opportunity here, maybe. I don't know. I'd stay out of it for now. Whatever happens in Iran is actually going to impact oil. So I'm going to stay out of it. And let the best team win, of course. So that's all for tonight, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We'll talk more about stuff that I didn't get to cover tonight. It's more just generalized stuff, but still important nonetheless. I'm also hoping that nothing big happens tomorrow, of course, or ever. But we'll also be talking about the non-farm payroll data unemployment rate that comes out tomorrow. And hopefully that is a catalyst to make things continue rising, right? Give us the push. Give us some 95,000 action. That would be great. So yeah, that's it for tonight. Take care, guys. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye.